Tonight, a return to nightlife.
It feels awesome. It's like well overdue, and we're super excited to be here tonight for sure.
Clubs and bars in Toronto welcome patrons back inside for the first time in months. We'll show you what else was able to reopen today.
After something like this, you work together and you move forward from there.
From crisis to cleanup, the city of Barrie and beyond come together to pick up the pieces after yesterday's horrific tornado.
No one will appreciate playing in front of their home fans more than us when that finally happens. We gladly endure hardship and burden to get home.
And the Jays are coming home. The federal government approves allowing home games at Rogers Centre this month. Good evening, I'm Chris Glover. It's another one of those milestone nights in the fight against COVID-19. Ontario officially moved into step 3 of the province's reopening plan today, allowing for many businesses to restart after months of crushing closures. Lorenda Redekop kicks us off tonight.
They jumped into step 3 bright and early with a 6:30 a.m. boot camp class.
It was really hard, but it felt great. It's good, feels good to sweat, feels good to have the motivation of everyone else around you. It was awesome.
It was amazing. Finally, I was able to work out in the studio and not at home in the living room with my daughter called me for everything, many distractions.
Here, they're distanced, max capacity of 50%, but don't have to wear masks during the class. It's been a tough go for gym owners.
It was devastating. I mean, half of our staff had to be laid off. We had to change all of our programming. We never did anything online before, and we've lost 70% of our members so far. We're hoping to get them all back.
Movie theaters are back, along with the snacks. Masks are still required here, except when you're sitting down eating or drinking.
You can get movies on Netflix, but it's not the same. Just the experience of the big screen and watching it.
You can come with a group of up to 4 people. Between you and the next group, there will be 3 seats blocked off. So that's in all directions, beside and also in front and behind you.
We probably won't get to the 50% capacity in there just because of the way the system is designed. We want guests to feel comfortable in our theaters. We want to make sure our employees and guests are safe while watching a film here at Cineplex.
Restaurant owners have struggled and say it's not over yet with capacity limits.
This is the time of year that we are making most of our money to get us through those lean months. So when November rolls around, January, February, we're going to be going hungry again.
Experts say some keys to staying safe indoors, ventilation and airflow, and not necessarily plastic barriers.
Now for plexiglass, if anything, plexiglass probably makes things worse in most situations because it disrupts ventilation.
He recommends masking, but personally isn't ready for the gym just yet.
I don't think I can work out in a mask, and while vaccines are very, very, very good, they're not perfect. So I have a reluctance.
If you prefer outdoors, Toronto FC will be back on the pitch at BMO Field tomorrow. 7,000 fans allowed. It'll be season ticket holders and frontline healthcare workers.
Definitely ready to go tomorrow, and I think we're in for a really special atmosphere and a really special welcoming back.
One cafe owner told us that even though she can reopen inside, she's decided to wait until all her staff is fully vaccinated. And it's vaccination rates that will determine when everything can reopen even further. Lorenda Redekop, CBC News, Toronto.
Clubs and bars were also on the menu for reopening today, sparking the return of Toronto's famous nightlife. Jessica Ng now with the club goers ready to get their party on and the owners ready to welcome them back.
It's Friday night and time for a cold one, which you can now take in or outside.
It feels awesome. It's like well overdue, and we're super excited to be here tonight for sure. We were here a couple of days before the first shutdown. It's nice to be back and having another pad thai.
And many wanted to. Long lines outside of bars in downtown and uptown are common, and it's hard to find a seat. Lisa Duff is one of the owners of the Rose and Crown.
Takeout was really slow, was really tough on us. Thank goodness for the government subsidies that we've been able to take advantage of. Otherwise, we wouldn't still be here.
That takeout period, she says, meant a 90% drop in business. So when they found out last week they'd be able to reopen for indoor dining.
It was a bit of a last-minute scramble, not going to lie, to get the inside ready.
In large part due to staffing. Other bar owners agree.
Going online, trying to secure staff, reaching out to our former staff, try to bring them back. Obviously, that's our, first and foremost, that's what we try to do. And then filling those holes.
Sacco's restaurant group lost 2 of the bars they own as a result of the pandemic. For those that are still open,
there's so much still confusion, to be honest with you. There's so much, there's this broken telephone.
Trying to figure out if they need to ask people to wear masks on the dance floor when the regulations seem unclear to some about whether or not dancing is even allowed.
It just changed so many times, all the rules changed. So it's been a while since that.
At the Rose and Crown, the dance floor isn't open, and Duff says they won't be bringing back bands or karaoke yet. But when you do visit, expect distancing and contact tracing. So here are the rules at this bar. Masks are worn until you're seated. Once you are seated, you can take off that mask, but you need to make sure you stick to your table. So no socializing with the other tables. And if you need to go to the washroom, get ready to put your mask back on. Despite all the work put into this reopening, the owners say it's worth it.
We have so many wonderful regulars, so it's been so great to welcome them back again.
Jessica Ng, CBC News, Toronto.
To Barrie now, where the cleanup continues north of Toronto tonight. Environment Canada confirming that it was an EF2 tornado that touched down in the city yesterday. It reached wind speeds of 210 kilometers per hour, leaving people injured and homeless. Dale Manukduk spent the day in Barrie as the extent of the devastation was sinking in.
Greg Hepburn walks into the home he's owned for just a month and a half.
When the glass blew out, we circled back and kind of huddled by the staircase for some sort of shelter.
Some sort of shelter. The roof of his house was completely blown off. He and his wife were able to make it to the basement.
We're grateful that no one was injured, and that makes it easy to realize that that's the only important thing.
Hepburn made it out safely, but that's not the case for everyone. 11 people were taken to hospital, at least 4 with serious injuries. Most were trauma-related.
Your first thought goes to the people who were injured, and it is just incredible that nobody was killed, let alone having life-threatening injuries.
What many described yesterday as a war zone is now a construction zone. Contractors, roofers, restoration services converging on a 5-block radius where the tornado did its damage. The EF2 twister was 5 kilometers long and 100 meters wide. Diane Nealon already has roofers working on her home.
It's just amazing to see, some houses untouched and the one across the road is basically non-existent. It's going to be knocked down. It's pretty amazing. Mother Nature.
John, I just want to tell you, we're going to be there for you.
Premier Doug Ford joined the mayor to survey the damage and indicated the province may provide financial support.
We're going to be here supporting them. If the insurance doesn't cover, then we're going to step up and help them out.
Help came from all over, not just first responders. Locals took it upon themselves to canvass the area, offering food and drinks.
I mean, community's coming together and stuff. People are out working on things already, so that's always good to see and stuff. Everyone's kind of helping each other out, so it's good to see that, right? After something like this, you work together and you move forward from there.
Electro utilities say that nearly 4,000 homes and businesses lost power, but most have been rebooted. Dale Manukduk, CBC News.
Environment Canada is responding to criticism after reports that some people didn't receive the tornado warning alert until after it was already on the ground. The agency says it works as fast as it can to get alerts out to residents. A tornado warning was issued at 2:38 p.m. yesterday. Environment Canada hasn't pinned down when exactly the tornado touched down, but estimates it was between 2:35 and 2:40. And after dangerous skies yesterday, today, a much calmer scene playing out in Barrie and across much of the GTA. Let's get to Nick Cernkovich now. Nick, what have you got your eye on tonight?
Hi, Chris. Well, shifting our focus to a different weather story. Now, yesterday we were talking about severe thunderstorms. Today, what we're talking about is some pretty heavy rainfall. We've seen 50 to 75 millimeters plus in southwestern Ontario. That system is now shifting toward the Golden Horseshoe. So here's a look at what it looks like on the forecast map. And as the system pushes across, it is tapping into moisture down from the Gulf of Mexico. That's giving us a lot of rainfall. Heaviest amounts of rainfall down around the Niagara region, but even the city of Toronto overnight tonight into tomorrow. We're looking at rain. Pretty much lasts for at least the first half of the day to about noon to 2 o'clock at best, and then begins to taper off as we head toward the evening hours, and then Sunday doesn't look too bad. But in the meanwhile, good deal of rainfall for some places. 24 degrees today is what we hit. That's below seasonal. Tomorrow, similar story with highs to 23. About 10 to 25 millimeters of rain in the forecast for tonight and tomorrow. We're going to break that down for you coming up in just a bit. Chris.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Nick. Jays fans, listen up. The boys of summer are coming home after receiving approval from federal health officials and the immigration minister.
It's been a long time since we've seen the Jays play on home turf, over 670 days. And I know how much Canadians like their traditions. We like our sports. We like, if you're from, like me, from Toronto, you love watching the Leafs or the Raptors, and you love watching the Jays. And there is nothing like watching a baseball game in the middle of summer.
The Jays will close out their regular season home games at the Rogers Centre. Home games will begin July 30th. The team has called Salem Field in Buffalo home for much of this season. It also played home games in Dunedin, Florida. The last time the Jays played a home game in Toronto was in September 2019. The Jays might not be the only ones making their way back to Canada. The country may open its borders to fully vaccinated Americans as soon as next month. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau raised that prospect during a call with premiers last night. Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland commented on it today.
We will continue to need both from Canadians and in the fullness of time from non-Canadians evidence that people have received 2 doses of vaccine to have a different kind of treatment entering the country.
During last night's call, Trudeau's provincial and territorial counterparts expressed support for the move. In recent months, the federal government has come under increasing pressure from U.S. lawmakers and some politicians here on the Canadian side to reopen the U.S.-Canada border. It has been closed to all non-essential travel since March of 2020. Peel officials have started a new initiative called Pfizer Fridays. Vaccination clinics are opening up hundreds of appointments on select Fridays. It's part of the region's push to reach people who are unwilling to mix mRNA vaccines, even though health experts say they are virtually the same and perfectly safe and effective to mix. Peel officials say these special vaccine days will vary between Pfizer and Moderna, depending on supply. They are being coordinated largely through appointments, but 600 walk-in slots were also available today at the Paramount Clinic. Now to major transit news for the GTA. The province has unveiled where the 4th stop will be on the proposed Yonge North subway extension. But critics are questioning the placement of a Clark station in Thornhill. Farah Morelli has details on the project and the pushback.
I can confidently say that a new Clark station is the right choice.
A new stop for a soon-to-come subway line. It's news that was met with excitement from York area mayors.
We're extremely delighted that today it is finally approved.
So how will the Yonge North extension work? The idea is to connect it to the TTC at Finch Station on the Yonge University line. In March, 3 core stations were announced. They were an underground stop at Steeles Avenue, an above-ground stop between Highway 7 and 407 called Bridge, and a third, also above ground, just north of there at High Tech Road. The big question was where the 4th stop in between was going to be. Today, that was formalized as Clark. The $5.6 billion project was supposed to be 6 stations, but was scaled back to 4 because of budget issues. The province says its studies showed a 4th station at Clark would attract more daily riders, an estimated 1,250 a day.
In this case, I think we continue to need to scrutinize how many riders are really going to be using this station compared to how much it's costing to build.
some experts question whether those ridership numbers are worth the price tag and say to address transit issues in the region, we need to be contributing to the system as a whole.
You're starting to see this idea a little bit more of the network plan. I think we need to push much more in that direction, thinking about how the rapid transit projects fit in with bus rapid transit, fit in with active transportation, and then fit in with also issues of parking policy and even how we pay for our roads.
The Minister of Transportation stood by the cost benefits of the project today.
We have done a tremendous amount of work with Metrolinx on making sure that the project itself fits within our funding envelope, and that's how we know that we are delivering value for taxpayers.
The trains won't be leaving the station anytime soon on this line. Construction isn't slated to begin until at least 2023. Farah Morali, CBC News, Toronto.
The remains of a third Canadian victim of the Florida condo collapse have been identified. Sources say the victim is 23-year-old Michelle Ana Pezos. She was in Surfside visiting her father, 55-year-old Miguel Pezos, whose body was also found in the debris of the 12-story condo. This news comes as recovery efforts at the site are nearing an end. County officials have accounted for at least 240 people. A cause has not yet been pinpointed for the collapse. Lots of cloud cover on our hands tonight as we look live at the Toronto skyline, with the current temperature hovering just around 20 degrees out there. Not getting a whole lot warmer tomorrow, and looks like many of us can expect some rain. Nick Cernkovich is back with a look at the long-range forecast that'll get you through the weekend. Nick, what's the story?
Hi, Chris. Well, the story, of course, is this rainfall that we're seeing moving into the GTA through this evening and tonight and tomorrow. And we've already seen what it's done in southwestern Ontario. And so this is our next sort of big weather story, if you will. Weather headlines look like this. For some, we've got showers. For others, we've got heavy rain, and still on the cool side for tomorrow in terms of the temperatures. Here's a look at that forecast map I showed you earlier on. So rainfall tonight, rainfall for tomorrow morning. Heaviest amounts of precipitation, though, down around the Niagara region and along the north shores of Lake Erie. Pretty much lasts for the first half of the day, likely to about 2 p.m. Now, some areas it'll taper off a bit sooner, and then as we head through tomorrow night, it clears out. Sunday, a few spotty showers are possible through the afternoon, and Monday not looking too bad as well. But really, tomorrow is going to be a pretty wet day for some. If you look at the accumulation map here, don't put too much stock in the exact numbers, but look at the potential for some of this here. We've got Hamilton that could be in excess of 50 millimeters or surrounding areas anyway, and that's where I think we're going to see the highest amounts of rainfall, that and the west end of the GTA. So forecast for southwestern Ontario, already having seen a ton of rainfall, more rain tonight. As we head through tomorrow, the rain showers begin to taper off, 25 degrees in the forecast for most places. Rainfall in the Golden Horseshoe there, temperatures around 19 degrees. Tomorrow, highs cooler, 23 degrees, and still looking at rain showers. In the long range forecast, slight chance of seeing some spotty showers Sunday afternoon, 27. Monday looks good, and more rain on the way for Tuesday. Chris.
All right, hanging on to that Sunday. Thanks, Nick.
Weather is brought to you by Train. To cool and clean the air in your home, it's hard to stop a train. Train, the most reliable heating and cooling brand.
CBC News has obtained documents detailing a 2019 elephant attack at a popular zoo and park near Hamilton that offered elephant rides. African Lion Safari has since ended the rides, but as Dan Takema tells us, there's nothing stopping others from offering them.
This is Maggie, a female Asian elephant. For decades, visitors to African Lion Safari rode on her back. But on June 21st, 2019, she attacked. CBC News obtained a copy of the Ministry of Labor's investigative report into the attack. It describes Maggie standing nearly 9 feet tall and weighing more than 8,500 pounds. That's nearly 4,000 kilograms. The report says she lunged at the handler while a rider dismounted. Maggie became aggressive and began attack, it reads, and details her hitting, pushing, and spinning the handler with her trunk. The handler was seriously injured. Zoos in Canada are overseen by a patchwork of provincial rules and organizations like Canada's Accredited Zoos and Aquariums, or CAZA, which set out standards for care and handling. It currently allows elephant rides, but the organization's executive director says he doesn't believe its policies failed the worker who was hurt.
I don't think there was a failure. I don't want to point any fingers at anyone.
Video recorded by World Animal Protection at African Lion Safari shows rides happening there in June 2019, the same month the attack occurred. CAZA says African Lion Safari was the only one of its members offering elephant rides, and it's not aware of any other site in Canada that's doing them. Now, African Lion Safari refused to do an interview with us, but confirmed by email that they permanently halted elephant rides in 2019. In a statement to CBC, the zoo said the following: African Lion Safari has always been and remains in full compliance of all CAZA standards that govern our park. The health and safety of all visitors, staff, and animals is our top priority. The move to end the rides came 8 years after the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, CAZA's American equivalent, stopped them.
And it was dangerous. We had significant record of injury and in some cases death.
Animal welfare groups have been calling for the rides to end for years and say the change at African Lion Safari is welcome news. But they wonder why it took an attack for them to stop.
It's very unfortunate it takes a tragedy like this to spur the zoo to do the right thing to keep animals and people safe.
Fawcett says a CAZA commission is currently reviewing its policies, and he anticipates that when they report back to the board in the fall, elephant rides will no longer be allowed. Dan Takema, CBC News in Flamborough.
Finally for us tonight, with interprovincial travel picking back up this summer, here's a brand new attraction on the West Coast guaranteed to give you the ultimate natural high.
I don't think you really see this anywhere else.
At the Malahat Skywalk on Vancouver Island. It offers a 600-meter elevated walkway through treetops to a 40-meter wooden spiral tower lookout with spectacular 360-degree views. For those of you wanting to get even higher, there's a trampoline at the top. And if you don't want to walk down, you can slide to the bottom instead in about 15 seconds. Thought we'd leave you with a high note tonight. Thank you for joining us, and have a great weekend.